Hey guys, welcome back to Gamers Remorse plays Dungeons and Dragons: Horde of the Dragon Queen. You'll note this is Gamers Remorse, not Gamers Remorse and Friends. If you recall, last episode, Twidget followed some thieves' cant and found the seedy underbelly of town. So that's where we are. Let's see what happens. Let's see how Twidget handles the darker side of life, if you will. Sean, are you ready to explore?
I don't know if I am, but Twidget is certainly ready.
Twidget's always ready.
That's true. He's been canting up on the thievery.
He's just been sitting here reading his notes from thievery school.
That's right.
What? I don't know why I just got out my Dragon Queen book. This is not in part of the Dragon Queen. Alright, so Twidget. Last night, so I guess I was writing this because it's 3 in the morning when this is taking place. So last night, you found the seedy underbelly of El Truel. There, a man told you to return to a tavern at 3 in the morning where they would test you and see if you're worthy of aiding them. You returned at 3 o'clock where they gave you some specific rules to follow. You headed around town following the rules, reading various signs of thieves' cant. As the roar of drunkards exiting taverns and stumbling their way home succumbs to a silent murmur in the background, you find yourself standing before an old, run-down building. The signs in thieves' cant and the back alley whispers led you here. The first test on your way into the dim underbelly in the realm is nearly complete. The last voice you heard as you turned down the alley whispered a small single phrase. Only the mist will permit your entrance. The door before you is old but sturdy. The lights inside show dim. Above the door are some symbols that you can tell are carved to look like the logo, but where it says three-legged horse. But you can tell the sign is thieves' cant, where it says after hours business, knock thrice. How would you like to proceed?
I first do some sort of perception check around the door, make sure there's no trickery at hand.
All right. Give me some perception.
+2. Not bad.
Dude, that's solid. Yep, so looking around, you can tell that, there's clearly nothing, like, super tricky going on. The door in front of you is like a solid wooden door. It's aged, but not, like, rust or rotting or anything. There are 2 little slots that could be pulled open. One about average person height, and one about the gnome, dwarf, halfling height. About you, you can tell that most of the drunken stragglers are kind of avoiding this particular door, coming out from various other taverns and just wandering about drunkenly. No one paying you much attention.
I pull a flask out of my pocket, take a quick swig for courage, and I walk directly up to the door and knock once, twice, thrice.
All right. After the 3rd solid knock, the upmost slot slides open for a fraction of a second. Then it slams shut quickly, and the lower slot at your eye level opens. And you just hear, who be at the gate?
It be I, Twidget. Whoa. And I heard sneezes behind the door.
Yes.
I said, it be I, Twidget. A fellow rogue from another town, another place.
And what sends you here? The gruff man calls.
I'm in search of a bit of coin and perhaps a bit of knowledge as well.
Right, the door slides shut, and you hear some murmuring in the background. And then after, a rough 30 seconds or so, you hear the sound of bolts unlocking as the door swings open. As you walk in, you just see a fairly empty room. Most of the tables are completely bare. Then they have the chairs turned upside down on top of them as an elderly woman mops the floor. In the center, there's one table where all the chairs are still set up around it, where you see a man, very well-dressed, well-groomed, sipping off of a clear goblet of wine. Behind him, you see 2 armored men standing silently. Well, there's quite a few others, about 4 other people sitting at the table, looking through books and notes. And then there's a cloaked figure standing opposite the man sitting with the wine. As you enter, the man looks up with a grin and just says, "Ah, you must be Twidget. Come, join us," he says, motioning towards you with the wine.
I walk towards him, checking out the papers that people are studying as I walk past.
Looking down, you can tell it's mostly thieves' cant, and then a few numbers. You're guessing it's ledgers showing incomes and outgoings of the local business that they'd rather the layman not be able to just read and understand, as well as a few maps of the city as well as houses.
Okay.
With
anything draconic or of the cult of dragons abounding?
Give me another perception check.
Alrighty. Ooh, not as good.
Yeah.
Not as good.
Nothing at first glance seems to be at all related to the cult of the dragons or their ongoings in the area. So as you kind of like come up towards him, you notice there aren't any extra chairs for you. And the people at the table working over the papers and the books completely ignore you as you approach. The man sitting there just kind of takes another drink of his wine before looking at you and just says, "Welcome to the mist. We come and go like the mist. No one sees or hears of our presence. Welcome this," and he kind of indicates the cloaked figure standing next to you. This is Dormier, our other potential ally tonight, potentially joining our guild if one of the two of you are worthy. And as he speaks, the figure lowers their hood, and you can see that it is a slender female drow. And her red eyes kind of peer almost glowing from under, kind of where her bangs sweep in front of them. But you know that while drow typically have white hair, she has dyed her hair black to better blend in with the shadows. And she just kind of casts you a glance of disapproving. "So what challenge are we to undertake?" the woman kind of asks, just kind of glaring at you. She doesn't even cast a glance to the man speaking. And the guy, clearly very joyous at this, he says, well, it is a race. We have an opening for someone with skills such as yours, but only one opening, yet 2 jobs to be done this night. So whichever of you finishes your job first clearly is the better and will be welcome to join us in potential future endeavors throughout the realm. At this point, you can tell she finally takes her eyes off of you and just kind of thinks over the options. Are the two of you okay with this proposal? The man asks before taking another long gulp.
I nod happily and say, "A challenge all the same. I'm in."
The drow nods slyly and says, "Well, if it's a race to see who's more effective, I fail to see why you even invited this short thing to show up." Clearly quite boastful. At which the man with the goblet gives out a loud, boisterous laugh. He says, "Well, good to hear. We have 2 missions for the 2 of you tonight. The first mission is one that is, let's just say, if the guards knew of it, it would be frowned upon greatly. There's a merchant who has not paid his protection fees in nearly 3 weeks, and he's been warned twice already in his delinquency, and we do not offer 3rd chances. A message must be sent to any others who think they too can avoid paying their taxes. The man must be dealt with. Preferably he does not see any more mornings, if you understand my meaning. So put a quick end to the man, and bring us back his right hand, which he used to sign the agreement. At which point the drow just kind of gives a chuckle and starts kind of fingering a dagger hanging by her waist. The second mission we have for the two of you is one of scholarly intent, you could say. A local man recently acquired an artifact that the guild desires. We attempted to purchase the artifact from the man, but he has refused, and we do not take kindly to refusals. The item must be acquired. The man is to live, if possible, but not necessary. Do you have any questions regarding either of the missions?
What is the item? And is it of the cursed nature?
After you speak, the drow just kind of chuckles and says, look at a little harsh to be so bold before your appointment, don't you think? At which point, the man with the goblet just kind of casts her an angry look. And he goes, we in the Mist value the definition of terms before terms are to be agreed upon. To which she kind of just shyly looks down at her feet, ashamed. The item in question is a statue, a carving of a raven, made of some form of rock, perhaps marble, some of us believe, others obsidian. We would like to observe the item. We believe that it may have some form of magical properties, though we cannot be sure. We have merely heard of informants, from what we have heard whispered in alleys and shadows. As far as a cursed nature, we do not believe there is as much, but until we have researched it, we will not know for certain.
Very well. I'll let the lady make her choice on which task she would like to go after.
The man finishes off his goblet before he sets it down and kind of waves the barman over to fill up his wine once again. He goes, well, I feel only fair that the first two who have arrived should have had first choice in regards to the mission. Daumier, he says, pointing towards the woman. What do you think would be more fitting of your abilities? To which she just kind of chuckles. I enjoy taking advantage when possible, she admits, but to show my true prowess in all areas, and to prove that this man is hardly worth your time and worth your energy to see, I shall let him choose. I will defer my choice to the little man. Then she kind of gets a very sly smirk. She goes, after all, not only is he little, but I feel he doesn't even have dark vision. How can he be of use in the shadows?
I chuckle audibly and say, very well. I believe I have a bit of knowledge in the way of thievery, so I will look for the statue and let you deal with I'll let you take out the trash.
The man grins, pointing to Dormier, and goes, I hope you are ready to put an end to this man's debt, as it seems our little friend is more than willing to take on the challenge of acquiring this artifact. Alright, so the man with the goblet of wine kind of motions over for the barman to come fill it back up, and as he does so, he takes out 2 sheets of paper, handing one to each of you from the table. And he says, these will provide a map for you on where to find the person you are looking for. Looking to Dormier, he says, the merchant you are looking for lives above his shop in the mercantile district. His store is the Ivory Loom. It is not hard to find. I do believe he has the building well alarmed, so I encourage you to find a non-primary entrance out of view of potential onlookers. Our informants tell us that the man lives alone, so it should not be difficult to kill upon entry. And don't forget that when the deed is done, we want his right hand, for it is with his right hand that he has broken the contract. And the woman just kind of nods, and he's like, and you may go. And so she kind of just quickly takes off, running, kind of slyly, thinking she has a decent head start on you. Then turning to you, he hands you your sheet of paper. He says, the scholar has his home on the northern edge of town. And the artifact you are seeking, as we said, is a raven statue, likely hidden in a chest or some means, I would presume. We would presume he has taken precautions if he is a wise and may have prepared for the potential theft. But bear in mind, we are sending a message. We don't want people to think that this was some random breaking and entering, or this was, a chance burglary. We want him to know that it was us who broke in and us who took the statue. So do your best not to take anything else if you can. He kind of says with a grin. You too, I would recommend finding a non-primary entrance. He likely is guessing we will be sending an agent along, so I would encourage you to find a non-primary entrance as well. To our understanding, the man's house is primarily used for his study, but if he has anything of in the ways of defense, feel free to dispatch of them as you need. And if you return, not only will you be awarded with a potential place in our guild, but there will be some monetary investment in it as well. He says before kind of motioning you out the door. I recommend you hurry along. Your competition has a head start.
I nod my head and I head out the door, looking at my map.
All right. So the map, it's a fairly decent-sized map of the town. But for the purposes that be, I'm going to give you a smaller version of the map. So if you are in Roll20, you can kind of see, just kind of there's the few main roads and sub-alleys, and I kind of circled the main building that is indicated as being the man's house. And you can tell there's an alley that runs behind it, as well as the main road on the northern edge. And there's just kind of a few fields around. It's kind of not necessarily like outskirts of town, but it's one of the last lines before you get to the country. And you kind of recognize this is just a few town blocks away from where your party is staying. So then as you investigate the house more closely, you'll note that on this new page, I spent some entertainment time while I should have been at work working on this.
Nice.
We kind of have the overhead of how the building looks, as well as kind of a side view with Twidget for scale. And so you can tell as you kind of look around and you kind of circle the house that there are 2 stories that are approximately square, and then a third story that is essentially a tall cylindrical tower in the center. The top tower has plenty of windows completely circling it, while the first story has some windows kind of scattered about, and the second story a few more windows. The 2 on your screen, I believe these are solid block squares essentially. On my screen, the viewers can see what's inside the houses because they're special. But you kind of see there's the main door up on the north off of that side road. The orange lines are the windows. The top one is the first floor, the second box is the second floor, and the bottom part is the tower. So, as you approach, what would you like to do?
Can you flip back to the road view?
Yes, I can.
Can I do a perception check on this house to see if anyone is home, or if it's somewhat abandoned or dark, or any of the above?
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Meh.
13. Yeah. So in kind of, you slyly sneak about the house, peering in windows and whatnot. Give me a stealth check as well.
All right. That I'm actually really good at.
Okay, yeah. So you're super, super quiet, super sneaky as you're looking around. And you can tell, that from inside the house there's no form of light. There are no torches, no candles or anything. But judging by what you see through the windows, it is a inhabited dwelling. There are people living there, but they do not seem to be awake and active at the moment. After all, it's about 4 in the morning.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and use my thieves tools on a back door, a entrance that most people probably wouldn't, go to.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a side door or something.
On the secondary house?
Yeah, on this house.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so kind of looking around, there's the main door and then just a fair number of windows. So you could probably try a window if you desired.
All right. I will try a window.
All right. Give me a thieves' tools.
Check. Not horrible because of my bonuses. But,
yeah, I mean, you almost crit failed opening a window.
To be fair, I can't crit fail.
Well,
unless I double.
You'd have to double crit fail. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're kind of tinkering with the window, trying to open it, and all of a sudden you just kind of hear a snap, and the glass from the window pane just kind of like falls in and hits the ground and shatters. How do you respond?
Okay, so
technically you opened it.
Yeah, technically I opened it.
Yeah.
Man. Okay. I'm gonna beeline it out of there and go over to this house on the far corner.
Okay. Quickly. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you're still stealthed up, so you're able to kind of get over there fairly quietly. What do you do when you reach the other house?
I also do the same perception check I did for the first house to see if I can divine if anyone's awake or if someone's in there or if it's somewhat abandoned.
Yep. Again, give me another perception check. Okay, yeah, so you can definitely tell, as you kind of like peek through the windows and everything, that, again, this is an inhabited dwelling. You actually find through one of the windows, you can actually see the guy laying in bed, sleeping. But it seems like it's just one guy that lives there. Fairly minimalist, not a whole lot of fancy things inside the house.
Okay,
again,
I'm gonna
use. To be up and awake.
All right, I'm gonna use thieves' tools again.
Okay.
This time on a window that's on the opposite side of wherever I see the guy sleeping.
All right, so he's in like this upper corner here.
All right, so I'm gonna try over here. Actually, I'm gonna try over here. Hold on. That way it's kind of off and away. First, I'm gonna do a perception of the street to make sure no one's seeing me because I'm kind of at a crazy intersection.
Yep, and this here, the part jutting out, like that's the main entrance.
Well, in that case, I'm just going to try and go through that door then.
Yep. All right, but as you were on the street, you said you wanted to perceive kind of the street activity. And that one, I want to make you roll for it. You can tell, kind of looking up and down the streets, that there's not a whole lot going on. There's one drunk dude far down the street to the south, just kind of walking along, mumbling a drinking song. But there's not much going on beyond that.
Okay. Then in that case, I'll go ahead and try and thieves' tool the front door open.
All right. Roll better than 2.
Boom.
Okay, yeah. So in this one, you successfully it doesn't take much fiddling. A very silent click, and you feel the door budge.
Okay. So in that case, then I, again, silently, stealthily go through the house, go to the upper level, and then come out this window up here. Again, as quietly as possible. I assume that's a window.
Yep.
And then I'm going to do a flip or something like that to try and get on the roof.
All right, that is going to take some acrobatics.
Okay. It's the first time using acrobatics. I'm scared. All right.
Good luck.
Oh my gosh.
This is rightly called the Misadventures of Twidget. So yeah, I mean you attempt to do a flip because you're trying to flip on top of the roof.
Yep.
And in the process you grab the side of the roof and kind of jump out to swing, and you get about halfway, and then you just kind of like realize you do not have the momentum you need, and you just kind of like fall. So give me a dexterity saving throw.
All right.
Okay, so you successfully, like, you start to fall, but you manage to catch yourself on the bottom of the window and kind of pull yourself back into the house. But again, it was moderately clamorous, you know, but passerbys or people in the house might think there's like a raccoon on the roof or something.
Right. And you know what? I feel courageous from that drink I had at the bar. I'm going to try it again.
All right.
Back flipping again.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this time, you know, you're able to successfully get on top of the roof. Again, there's kind of another pitter-pattering. As you land, it wasn't like the most... You won't be joining Cirque du Soleil anytime soon.
Right.
But you got on the roof. So what do you wish to do in your newfound
Excellent.
position?
All right, so I am up here on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to do a... You're going to love this. I'm going to run from here to here, right?
Okay.
Doing another flip, like parkour style. Halfling parkour.
Okay. Everyone loves halfling parkour, man.
It is the best to watch.
Yep. So, I mean,
another...
Yeah, so, and then another acrobatics, you're going for, you know, a 5-foot jump. Okay, and you just crush this one. Like, perfect form. You nail the landing. You even do the whole gymnast hands up, little bow.
Nice. All right. So I'm on this roof now.
Mm-hmm.
So now, again, continuing with my stealthiness, I stealth all the way across the roof. All right, I make it over here. I get out of my burglar's pack. Oh, yes, I have a burglar's pack. And I have with me 50 foot of hemp rope, right?
Yep.
A crowbar and a hammer, right?
All right.
Bear with me on this. I was raised by gnomes, so it's a long story. So I tie onto the end of the hemp rope the crowbar, right? Pretty much making what are they called? The thing with the 3 hooks, except for this only has one.
Grappling hook?
Grappling hook, yes. I make a grappling hook out of it.
A grappling crowbar.
A grappling crowbar. I give it one of these and I throw it, trying to catch it on some area on this roof over here.
Okay.
It could even be on the edge.
Yep. This is things I never thought I would have to find a qualification for. So I'm thinking, you know, that's mostly aim and throw skills. We're going to say dexterity. Let's go with whatever you are best at. Either performance, sleight of hand, or athletics.
Athletics is strength-based, right?
Yes.
We're going to go with sleight of hand.
All right. $18. All right, so your crowbar, it kind of spins, it goes, you nail it on the distance, and at first it kind of lands and starts kind of slowly rolling down the side of the building, and then it kind of catches itself, the hook part of the crowbar catches itself under one of the shingles.
Okay.
So it is currently stuck on a shingle.
Stuck on a shingle. That's enough to risk my life on. That sounds reasonable.
I've risked my life on less.
All right. So I run over here and I tie it around this chimney post right here, right?
Okay. Yep.
Which is 45 feet?
Yep, so that's 45 feet, so that's fairly taut.
Yep. It's fairly taut, and I make sure it's pretty well concealed there. I test my weight on it on a, you know, on a place where I can still catch myself on the roof. And then I tightrope walk.
All right, so I mean, we're talking like
Slowly but steadily.
super slackline tightrope skills.
Yes.
All right, so do you have any means of like a counterbalance, like a fancy bar to hold, or are you just one foot in front of the other in it?
Yeah, we'll go with a fancy bar to hold. Let's see. I've got. Now I'm only a little dude, so bear with me on this one. We're gonna go with my rapier. That is the biggest bar I've got to hold on to. It's not very big.
So you're going for a rapier as a counterbalance.
It's better than a toothpick.
True, just barely. All right, so give me a acrobatics check.
All right.
Oh, buddy. All right, so peek behind the DM curtain here. We have typical DC task checks, and I had previously decided that was hard, which requires a 20, and you nailed it.
Yes.
So consider yourself lucky. And then I just looked at my cheat screen, and they were like, well, technically, walk across a tightrope should be very hard, but they're not walking with a rapier as a counterbalance.
Right.
So,
It changes everything.
yep. However, there's a 20% chance that you will lose the crowbar hold.
No. Curses.
So we're rolling a 1d100. You want over 20. Unrecognized command.
I'm counting that as 50.
All right, 45. You got lucky. So you get to the other end. The rope does not break. You manage not to fall, and you find yourself on the roof of the scholar's house.
Excellent. I again sneak using that same sneak skill I have been using across all the rooftops. I crawl up to the window and peer in,
Okay.
looking down, I imagine.
We're jumping back to this other screen here now.
Yep.
So if you go towards that little circle at the very bottom of the fancy things there. All right, so you're kind of standing off to the right side here. And polygon reveal.
I have to like jump up a little bit to even look in the window, and I'm just sort of hanging there.
Yep. Apparently this is all the tape we have.
Where's the duct tape?
I do not know.
Actually, I have more of this.
Okay, and we're back. All right, so you're kind of like jumping up and finger tipping the window and peering. That's pretty good miming, if I say so myself.
It was.
And I mean, actually, give me a stealth check, and this is going to say how stealthily can you go from window to window.
Oh, all right. My stealth was good. It was a 7. Ding. Well,
It's not terrible.
that's not bad. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, you're able to, I mean, between all the windows, see pretty clearly inside this room. And I mean, it's a cloudy day. I mean, if you think typical cloudy, early morning, it's not hard to see. And that is the wrong tool. Alright, so you should now be able to see inside this little thing here. So kind of peering in, you can see there's a stairwell at the very middle that likely leads down to the other floors. He has a writing table with a bunch of random parchment and stuff laid about, 3 chests. And then he himself is lying in bed, sleeping.
Okay. Do I recognize him from maybe a traveling caravan that I came upon the road a week ago?
You do not recognize him. He looks a lot like that guy. Like you would
Oh,
almost
okay.
think you would almost think they're related, or you would think the DM is really lazy and doesn't feel like looking for new commoners. One of the two. And so, kind of looking at him, you can tell he's clearly sound asleep, and he's holding kind of this big book as he's sleeping. Like a teddy
Interesting.
bear.
Why a book?
Because he's a scholar. Don't read too far into it.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
It's just flavor.
Well, all right. I will try and quietly open up this window using thieves' tools.
Yep. So give me some thieves' tools action.
Oh, what was thieves' tools? I think it was 4. So if I'm proficient in something, that means I get 4. Do I still get dex bonus on top of that, though?
So if you're proficient in it, you would get your dex bonus and your proficiency bonus.
Okay.
Which at level 4 for a rogue, I believe is that still 2 or is that 3 now? There's the wrong book.
Either way, it wasn't a good roll.
Yeah, it looks like it's still 2.
Windows.
I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna find
Stupid.
the actual class. So, rogue, yep, still +2. At level 5, your proficiency bonus will be +3.
So it's actually a +5, so I did even worse.
So you got a
So
solid
9.
Yeah, so
Solid
I mean,
9.
yeah, you're working the lock and it's not budging, and you see the guy kind of like roll over, not awake, but he rolled over.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to keep trying, or do you want to try another window?
Yeah, I may as well try another window.
All right.
Here's a question. Well, yeah, let's try this window over here.
Okay.
Probably this one. So I barely move around the thing.
Yeah.
I slide over. So the other one won't budge. Same roll.
Yep. All right. Yep. So this time, you're able to kind of click it and slide it open. Do you open it like do you just like throw it open all the way like really quickly? Do you just slowly inch it all the way up? How are you planning on opening this now that it's unlocked?
I am going to slowly open it large enough that I can fit in. Now I'm a halfling, so it doesn't need to be all the way.
Yep. All right. So as you start sliding it open, going with the same. Oops. Pretend you didn't see that. That was supposed to be a GM roll. Yeah, so as it's sliding open, you get it, a good, 2.5 feet. But you're able to easily like kind of slide in and get inside.
Okay. So now that I'm in here, right?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to do a perception check to see if there's any traps or anything on the floor that would hinder me from my endeavors to check out these chests.
Yep. Roll some perception.
Oh, I'm not very good at it, though.
6. Yeah, you're just like, man, this guy does not think about defense at all. It's like a candy store in here.
Awesome. Can I do a perception check on him to see if I can gain any insight into if he has a class or level?
Yeah, go
So I
for
can
it.
figure out if I do wake him up, if he's going to totally kick my butt or what.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, from what you can tell with him lying under the covers, you're like, man, this guy somewhere between 20 and 60 sleeps with books, has a onesie on.
like I can't tell anything.
Yeah.
It's like he's like a half orc gnome.
You're like, I
don't know.
really wish I had night vision right now.
I'm not even sure if he's a guy anymore. I don't know. Okay, all right. I'm gonna stop wasting time doing perception checks then. All right. I have pitons in my backpack that I would like to silently spread over the floor in front of his bed, in between him and the stairwell. Now, I'm going to carefully place them there because I don't want any rolling down the stairs. That would be horrible.
All right, so I'm making sure I'm thinking of the same thing you're thinking of. If I remember right, pitons are like those things you use for climbing, right?
Is that what they are? No, I'm sorry. Ball bearings. I have 1,000 ball bearings.
Okay.
Sorry.
Because, I'm pretty sure like pitons are the things you use for rock climbing.
Yeah, that would hurt his feet, but that would be hilarious.
Like, what is he going for here?
Yeah, I put ball bearings down around his bed. Very carefully placed, one at a time.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
All right, so you successfully Home Alone disguise tower.
Right. All right, so now I go ahead and start using my thieves tool on this chest.
That chest, all right. Roll some thieves tool action.
All right.
I hear like the ding like a solid like 5 seconds before the number comes up, but every time I'm like, what? Oh. All right, yeah. So you successfully get this one unlocked and you open it, and inside you see a lot of super fancy books. They have like gold lighting. What's it called? The edges are covered in gold.
Gold gilding.
There we go.
Can I
gilding.
do a Arcana check or an investigation to figure out if there's any sort of magic, anything to them?
Yeah, you can roll some Arcana. See if you recognize anything.
Nailed it.
Yep. So I mean, you know enough about magic, and you observed enough from your warlock pal that you can tell some of these books clearly have, various like potion recipes or the words for various semantic aspects of spells. So
are there any that stand out to me as being particularly useful for a spellcaster? Any scrolls or anything like that?
One of them you think definitely could be quite useful. It's just essentially a list of potion recipes. It's called An Alchemist's Friend, Volume 1. You don't know if that's what it's called because you don't read spell language, but that's what you would call it if you were to name it.
I mean, I'm an arcane trickster.
True.
Right?
But that's what you would call it.
Yeah. All right, I'll go ahead and slide that one in my backpack.
Okay.
And then I will quietly close this chest and work on the second chest of the 3. First, actually, let me turn around and do another perception check, make sure he's quiet and not roused.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I need to light a candle or something. I can't see at all.
So
It's like the worst roll ever.
I love that not only do you crit fail, but you're lucky, so you get to reroll, and you roll a 2. So, yeah, you're like, I think he's asleep, but for all I know, he could be right behind me.
It's reasonable. In that case, I keep going on. I'm going to go ahead and try and Thieves Tool this guy open.
Yep.
Again, as quietly as possible.
Yep. See if you can do not a 1 or a 2. I like that how it's only in your perception rolls that you're doing terrible.
Yeah, my Thieves Tools aren't much better. My acrobatics seem to be off the chart, though.
For some reason, your acrobats is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So on this, you go and your Thieves Tools slide in. You hear, after a while, there's a bit of finagling, you hear a click. And then as you open the lid, there's all of a sudden a loud, like, caterwauling.
Oh, geez.
Almost, like a siren. And there's nothing that should be causing a siren noise. You're not sure what's going on exactly. Instantly the guy kind of, like, jumps up, drops the book, and kind of, like, throws his covers off of him and makes a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, no. Did he crit pass?
He crit failed.
Yes! Yes!
Boom! He
Ball bearing.
seriously rolled a 1, and he has no dex, so he has no bonus to the 1. So it is a solid 1. So he just hits the ball bearings and falls and meets this nice little circle in the floor that has stairs coming up. You just hear a couple thuds as he falls down the stairs, a groan, and then silence.
I totally Home Aloned him. All right. While I have this chest open, can I do a quick look around? Because I feel like I'm not going to open it again.
Yeah. After a short while, the sound dies out. You can tell it was just an initial, some form of enchantment against thievery. And inside there is a statue, a black statue of a bird, probably a raven, as well as a scroll.
Okay. I mage hand both of the items into my backpack.
Okay.
Without touching them.
Okay.
And do I hear anything downstairs? Should I do a perception check for that? To see if anyone's coming up?
Yeah, I mean, without a perception check, you don't hear anything. Throw me some perception and see if you pick up on something.
It'll be so good, though. You don't even know.
This is
boom! Solid 6.
Yeah, you hear the sound of nothing.
In that case, let's go ahead and try and open the third chest.
Okay.
I know it's foolish.
Yeah. I mean, as you get to it, and you're even before your thieves' tools, you realize this one's not locked.
Oh, okay. Do a perception check on it to make sure it doesn't have the same issue as the previous one.
Okay.
So I'm looking for a trap.
Okay.
Well, there we go.
Yep. You do not see there don't seem to be any traps on this chest.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and mage hand it open then if it's unlocked.
Okay. Yep. Opening
what
it.
Do I see?
Yep. You just see that this is where he keeps his clothes, and there's just a bunch of mostly robes thrown in the chest.
Okay. Anything draconic, like the purple robe or a red robe?
No, it's just it's a typical scholar robe, something you expect to see someone who thinks they're smart wearing around town.
Okay. Do another perception check to hear if I hear anyone coming upstairs or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
Yeah, you still do not pick up on any movement or sound from down below.
All right, I quickly run over here and take a look at these scrolls on the desk. Anything of import?
Yeah, these are mostly kind of like maps of the area, and just some kind of rough diagrams. It looks like he's attempting to create his own book or something. It all seems to be handwritten.
All right, I'll take a map of the area and shove it in my burglar's pack.
Okay.
And I make it back out the window that I came in.
All right.
Back on the roof.
Okay. So then I'm just going to presume that you're going to...
Yep. I'm going to try and Spider-Man my way back across. All right. So I'm back on the roof. Do I see anything from up here? Do I see anyone wandering outside because of the calamity that went on inside?
You do not see. I mean, from as you're looking about, you can see a candle is lit in. Oh, wrong button. In this house here, but you're guessing it most likely. I guess you're not guessing anything. I don't know what you're thinking. But there's a candle lit by the broken window.
Oh, that makes sense. He's trying to figure out what the heck's going on. All right, let me see if I have any other bags of tricks in my stuff. Okay. I'm gonna... Well, I can't cast a cantrip and perform an action. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and try and... Well, I'm going to stealth up.
Mm-hmm.
Again, of course. Now that I'm back on the roof. All right. With a 21. And I am... Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do my acrobatics again, going across here, using my rapier to steady me.
All right.
Actually, can you tell me which is higher, this roof or this roof? Because if this left one is significantly higher, technically I could just use my claw hammer and ride it all the way down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like kind of ziplining. Unfortunately, both of these are 2-story houses.
Okay. All right.
If you had more rope, if it wasn't taut, you could have tried to hook it up on top of the tower.
Right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna try and run across here again then.
All right.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Well, let's see some acrobatics.
Yeah. 5. Such a bad feeling.
All right, well, let's see how it holds up as you start running. I always type rolling. I don't know why. All right, so you get about halfway across and you lose your footing and you start to come off the side. Give me a dexterity saving throw. All right, so I mean it's very fumbly. You managed to get one hand on the rope, and so you're hanging, about 20 feet off the ground. How do you want to handle this?
Let's see. The guy with the candle, can he see me, or like can I perceive that he sees me?
Give me a perception check.
So good at it.
Yeah. So it from what you can gather, like it doesn't look he's not peeking out the window or anything. So I mean you're guessing he's not paying any attention to you.
Okay. All right. Well, here's what I'm doing then. This might be the most ridiculous thing ever. I got halfway, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's going to be painful. But it would be so quick. Do you know what I'm doing?
I think so. I mean, I'm guessing, I'm theorizing that you're holding on. I'm guessing your rapier is in your other hand that you're using to counterbalance.
I'm going to totally... Yeah, I'm gonna try to do the chandelier trick, but if I'm 20 feet off the ground, poof, it just knocks me right into the side of the house, painfully. But it could be so epic. I could maybe find an open window and like flip in there, or not.
So no one way to find
All
out.
right, because I suck at strength, so I'm gonna take my rapier. I cut the rope behind me so that I go towards this house. If I can do the... Oh, it's not clicking. Oh, right. I go towards this house.
All right, so you're going towards the house with a broken window.
Yep. And as I approach the house, I'm going to try and do a backflip, reversing the physics of me approaching the house at a certain speed so that I land on my feet. I'm going to try and stick the landing.
All right.
Unless I see an open window.
All right.
So there's a little bit of perception in there. I know it's a lot of things.
So, I mean, there's a 50% chance... Let's get the right thing. 50% chance you get towards kind of this square. 50% chance you go on the other side of this. So, I mean, we're just going to do a 2. So 1 is the top, 2 is the bottom. 1. All right, so you're going for this side.
Okay.
We'll say there is a 50% chance that there's a window there. You're trying to break it up here, so that's where the broken window is. So you're not going towards the broken window.
Right.
So 1...
But he might have it open.
Yeah, 1, there is a window there. 2, there is not a window there. That is a hashtag, not a slash. So there's
No window
There's
there.
no window where
All right.
you're.
All right,
where
I'm
you're
doing the
headed.
backflip.
All right. So, but how close do you get to the house before you try to backflip off the rope?
Based on my reaction time, which is pretty sluggish after that drink, I'm gonna say I only get a third of the way there before I start
Okay.
trying to do a backflip.
So I mean, you're still about
12 feet off the
12.
ground.
Yeah. So you're about 12 feet. So give me a acrobatics. You're doing a lot of acrobatics tonight.
Yeah, because I haven't ever used it
This
in
is
the
like
game so far. And it's
Twidget
funsies.
Cirque du Soleil hour.
Meh.
Was that an easy task? You would have succeeded. Yeah, so I mean, you get most of the backflip, but you don't quite stick the landing.
So I just sort of land in grass.
But upon landing, you take 4 points of damage.
Hashtag worth it. Epic.
With a thud. And kind of with a thud, actually, it's the guy from the window kind of pokes his head out and kind of glances about. But as he's been working with the candle, his eyes are not set for the darkness of the outside. So he just kind of sees shadows. He doesn't pick up anything. And he quickly kind of pops his head back inside. So now, do you just want to work your way back towards the three-legged pony? Or is there more stuff you want to do here?
Yeah. I think I'm done with these houses.
Mm-hmm.
However, I would like to work my way back to the three-legged pony.
And just a reminder, that's
and-
where they told you to return after you got the goods.
Yeah, but I want to see if there's any signs of my competition anywhere along the way back.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's part of my map. Give me just a solid perception. Okay. And so as you're returning, you're keeping a lookout, you're keeping your head on a swivel, and you do not see the drow. You do not see her at all upon your approach. I hope you're ready for this. This is going to be crazy.
Okay.
This is... Oh, no. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, nope. Plan is... Oh, wait, plan might work. Plan might work. Nope, plan won't work. Oh, wait, here we go. Boom! No idea what I just did. How do I undo that?
There's like a house with a road going through it.
Yeah. So I did not do what I meant to do. There we go. Fix that. Oops. This is DM Ruins Everything Hour. So what I was going to do is going to be super awesome. And I was going to try to rotate this entire map.
Oh, I gotcha.
And then I was going to be like, hey, look, we're in a new area. But clearly that didn't work. Now how do I unselect things? Nope. Nope. Maybe. Nope. Okay. Oh, did I get it this time? Nope. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so we're just going to create a new on-the-fly. Okay. Welcome to the new page.
All right.
And Twidget. Alright, so you're kind of coming down the road. Bump. Not what I meant to do. My brushes have changed on me. There we go. So let's say this is the road here. And this is the building you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of just other random, not as nice buildings along the road.
Mm-hmm.
Side roads branch out this way. kind of an alley here and an alley here.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're about halfway to the house here, when all of a sudden 20 a dart just kind of flies right past your head and strikes the ground in front of you. And kind of turning around, you see a shadow kind of do a fancy cartwheel flip off one of these buildings, landing in the street behind you. And the drow lady kind of pulls out a rapier, kind of looks at you and says, "It looks like I have to fight my way through you." How do you respond?
I'm just gonna book it for the three-legged pony.
All right. Give me an initiative roll.
I can't click my guy, but I guess
Nope.
I'm the only one, so that.
Why can you?
Oh, it's not very good. It's not very good.
Oh, that's why I have these on the wrong layer. Token layer. Now you can control your guy. All right, and that was supposed to be secret. Oh well. Yours is greater
didn't
than
see
yours. Yeah, like I didn't see anything. Oh no, that was a GM roll. Oh sweet. Okay, you didn't see it. For some reason, I thought it was public. All right, so she goes before you, and so kind of you just see her, like pull open her cloak and grab another dart and just chuck it at you. Does 16 hit your armor class?
Nope.
All right. And so then after that, she starts running towards you, and she gets about 5 feet away. And now it is your turn.
All right.
That's the
if she's 5 feet away, I'm gonna book it up there, and I can go 25 feet, but then I'm gonna use cunning action to go the other 25 feet.
Okay.
And I'm in.
All right.
So I'm in here by the time she gets a turn.
Okay. All right. So you kind of come running in. You get to the door, but the door is shut.
Oh.
Do you just try to wrench the door open and charge in, or do you knock? What do you do when you get to the door?
Huh. Well. I will. Gosh. I'm going to try and. Can I cast at this point, or what?
Well, okay, so you used your movement to go 25 feet.
Yeah.
You cut in action. You've gone so far 10 feet, and you're at the door.
Yeah. So, all right. I guess I'll try and knock 3 times.
All right, so you knock 3 times, and the bottom thing just opens. And you just kind of hear again, who's there?
It is I, Twidget, with the items you wanted.
Okay. And at this point, she is here. And so the door, you don't hear any bolting at all. And the door starts to open, so it is unlocked. And the lady just calls behind. She's just like, "I too am here. We arrived at the same time." And so as presuming you jump into the room, she follows behind shortly after. So as the two of you enter the room at about the same time, the man with the glass goblet is sitting back at his original seat. It's been about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and it's just like, it seems the two of you have tied upon your arrival. How then do I decide which of you is more efficient to the task?
I looked at her. Does she say anything?
She's just kind of scowling. But but she is not responding.
Then I say, why not choose us both? It would appear we both are, we both have equal abilities. And I smile at her.
She kind of casts you an angry, snarling look. Says, I don't think the two of us could ever be equal. Clearly you know not the usefulness of the drow. And she kind of walks over to the man's table and pulls her pack off of her shoulder, reaches in and just slams a hand that has been severed just below the wrist onto the table. It's like, the hand, as you requested. And he just kind of looks over to you and he's like, did you acquire what you were sent to do?
I open up my pack and dump out the contents, of which is the black raven statue.
Yep. So you open your pack, and I mean, so you're just like dumping your pack out?
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, a couple pythons, some rations, a statue, a few books.
It's pretty comical. It's pretty comical because I just said I was on the same plane as her, and I'm like, some jerky falls out.
Like a bunch of stuff just kind of like spills onto the table. But he sees clearly the statue, and so he motions one of the armored people behind him to grab it. And he, using his armored gloves, he kind of takes it up, looks at it, takes the other glove off and touches it, and just kind of shrugs and sets it back on the table. They seem to be willing enough to handle it at this point, so that the man sitting there kind of takes it and looks it over with a grin, sets it down beside him. So was this all you took then, just the statue?
No, I managed to grab a couple of maps as well as a alchemist book for my own personal interests.
You see the man kind of have one of the soldier guys come down and kind of whisper back and forth. Dormier at this point just says, Sir, I recall you telling us strictly to take nothing but the statue. At which point, the man gets a wide grin, and he kind of casts a look at the drow and says, that is correct. I did say to take just the statue, so he would clearly know what was being taken from him. But I must admit, I respect the halfling's initiative and honesty. Two things that are rare in these parts. And he's like, can I see which of these are the maps you speak of? He doesn't feel like rifling through the contents of your bag, trying to find them.
I pick up a piece of the jerky, take a bite, set it down. I'm kind of ruffling through things myself. There's like a half-broken bottle in there, and I'm just like pushing it out of the way. I eventually pull up the scroll, the map, and I hand it to him, and then I hand him the potion book.
Yeah. So he kind of flips through the potion book, and he's just like, you can keep this. We have some alchemists on payroll that I feel know everything this book could possibly teach them. And he kind of takes the map, and he kind of unravels it, and looking down, just kind of looks at the different markings and kind of confused, and says, if you don't mind, we'd like to hold on to this and see what project you may have been working on. Would that be fine with you?
I eye him slowly and say, so does this mean we have an accord? Am I now a part of your guild?
He kind of gets a big grin and looks back over at Dormier. Before I speak out of turn, may I ask what your long-term plans are? Are you going to stick around in town? Are you heading towards Neverwinter, Baldur's Gate, or what use could you be to us? Where might you be going?
I am a traveler through and through, is what I say. I enjoy nothing more than being on the road and going on adventures and quests. So I probably won't be in your hair longer than, say, Fork Night. And I purposely mispronounce it and say Fork Night.
Okay. He kind of looks over to the drow and kind of motions for her to answer likewise. Twitch just responds, I am like the wind, I come and go as is needed. But if you have need and desire of my skills, I'm more than willing to go wherever you send me. Twitchy just kind of grins widely. He says, well, the two of you have served us well this night, and I hope you will continue to serve many nights yet to come. And he waves the barman over, who you see set 2 mugs on the table that are empty, and then pour a amber liquid into both, and then drop 2 handfuls of something that seem to be coins, but from this distance you're not entirely sure. And he brings the 2 over and he sets them on the table. And he is just like, your first payment among many. And he says, wherever the 2 of you go, we will send missions as we hear about your notifications. You can always seek for the mist. We have agents and operatives all throughout the realms. And if any ask, just tell them that the mist has sent you. You are welcome among us.
Excellent. I prestidigitate the amber liquid from the mug in a floating cloud into my mouth, and I just take it in one fell swoop. Not the coins, just the liquid.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, as you do this, the barman and one of the armored guys' eyes just kind of get big, and the drow just kind of looks at you, and it's just like, I knew there must be magic. There's no other means by which you could have beaten me back. But she is still impressed and not as hostile as she was before. Now that she knows she is accepted, and she too quickly drinks hers down, being careful not to take in any of the coins. And the 2 of you can kind of count. There's about 50 gold's worth of coins in the bottom of the mugs. They're about half coins, half beer.
That's a lot of coins.
Yeah. We pay our operatives well for good work. They say with a grin. Is there anything else you desire of us before we call it a night?
I asked them if there are any weapons or items I could check in their stores. Of course, I'd be willing to pay now that I have a full purse.
Yeah. The man with the goblet kind of indicates one of the armored men and just says, take our friend Twidget to the armory. Why don't you? And see if he would like to do some shopping. The man kind of nods and leads you back behind the bar, where he pulls on a specific bottle of brandy, and kind of part of the floor slides away, and there's some stairs down to the basement. And he kind of leads you in, and there's just kind of a big open room where they store various bottles of beverages that they serve in the bar, but then also on the far wall you see, a few sets of armor and some weapons. As the man kind of looks at you and kind of a gruff voice, he's like, is there anything in particular that you may be looking for, friend Twidget?
Poisons? Or anything to tip my darts with or my bolts with? Or a hand crossbow. Any of those would be great. Or any upgraded studded leather that are non-dex intrusive.
He kind of nods and he's like, well, one of our alchemists would know more about the poisons. I can only tell you what they're labeled as, no more. And he kind of walks over towards what looks like a barrel, and he kind of opens it, and you can tell that it's hinged, and it is not a barrel, it's just empty and used for storage. And there's a few poisons in there. And he's like, each poison here generally we would have to check with the master upstairs, but I believe it sells for 25 gold per vial. Each vial could probably tip a good 20 or 40 darts based on how liberal you are with the poison. And then he kind of, as he's talking, you see the drow and the other armored man descend the stairs. And he kind of calls the other guy over, and he's like, do we have any studded armor or hand crossbows that you're aware of? Towards the other guy just kind of points to a chest. And he's like, there should be some crossbows, perhaps hand crossbows in the chest. But as far as armor, I don't believe we have anything beyond the standard armaments.
Mm-hmm.
So, presuming you go and you check out the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for it on my thing. I'm not seeing. I know it's here. Where is it? Why am I not finding Oh, there it is. Yep. So inside there is one hand crossbow, um, as well as a few things of bolts for the crossbows.
Mm-hmm.
If you're interested, the man says, we can sell you one of the crossbows at price, 75 gold for a hand crossbow.
Sold. I'll go ahead and take that.
All right.
So I hand him 75 gold.
Mm-hmm. So you can pull that off your character sheet and add a hand crossbow. And were you interested in any of the poisons, or would you prefer to wait for another day?
I would like to see what kind of poisons you have. Can you... Actually, I need to buy some bolts as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting low on bolts.
Yep.
Are they all the same variety?
Yep, all the bolts, they will fit whatever it is you may be needing. 20 bolts for a gold.
I will take 20 bolts.
All right. And so he kind of hands, it's wrapped in a quiver. So if you don't have a way of carrying them, you do now, and he just kind of hands it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, here you go. Use them wisely. May your foes be shot as needed.
Excellent. And what kind of poisons does he have?
He kind of walks back towards the open barrel, and he's like, I know not my poisons very well, but... just
Are they labeled?
Yeah, so he just kind of starts looking at them as they're labeled, and like one of them, it just says, like, poison of slow death.
Okay.
Like very nondescript kind of things.
Yeah.
One of them, it's like poison of the elderberry. Like it's more of the components that made them than anything in specific.
Okay. All right. Is the drow girl still around by chance?
Yep, she is currently looking at daggers.
Excellent. I walk over to her and say, perhaps do you have any knowledge or where I can get some drow poison?
She kind of looks at you with a sly grin, and she's like, well, us drow are known to make multiple forms of poison. Is there any specific mean you hope to kill your enemies by?
Any that render my enemies unconscious, at least for a time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for my poisons right now, but I am coming up blank.
Yep. Here we go. Yep, so she kind of walks over to the poison thing and starts looking through them, and pulls one off of the shelf, and kind of starts reading it. And it's just like, this, I believe, may do the task at hand. And there's just a poison called Poison of Long Sleep. She's like, I believe it will render them unconscious. And she kind of like takes the top off and kind of smells it and puts the cap back on. I was never a master of poisons by any means, but this definitely seems to sound with the name and smells as I might recall it.
Excellent. I take it from her hand and I pay the guard. What was it? How much gold for a poison? 50?
He said 50, and it'll give you about 20 to 40 bolts based on how liberal you use it.
Yeah. All right. I'll give him the 50 gold for that.
All right.
So expensive.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I'm pretty sure drow poison is normally 75 gold per vial.
Oh, is there any more than?
This is the only one that fits that description.
All right.
I mean, I don't know how much the vials, according to this, cover.
Okay.
And so as she hands it to you, she's like, are you familiar with poison that renders them unconscious?
I am not. I've only heard tale of it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I could put it to some use.
She's like, well, as we were taught back in the training academy, if you dip your bolts or arrows in the poison, upon cutting a foe, they must be injured in the process. But if you successfully injure the foe, it will reduce them to 24 hours of unconsciousness.
Wow.
Sorry, 2d4, not 24. I missed the D. So it'll render them for 2 to 8 hours of unconsciousness.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, milady. Mm-hmm. Is there anything I can help you out with?
She's like,
I say to the drow lady.
Unless you have some enchanted daggers, I believe I am fine for the time being.
I'm afraid I do not have them. But I have heard tale of some in the area.
Do you have messages of these tales by chance?
Messages of these tales?
Like where?
What do you mean?
Where have you heard of these daggers? I am much in desire of finding one myself.
There is a dragon hatchery just south of town, I believe, where I have heard of such a thing.
I may have to look into this, she says, grinning. I feel my first impressions of you may have been in error.
Mine of you as well. And I give her a short but curt nod and head upstairs.
Yeah. She follows behind quite shortly and leaves to go about her business in the town. And as you come upstairs, the man with a goblet, he's like, is there anything else we can help you with, Twidget, or perhaps shall we see you another day?
I do have some need of some knowledge out in the area. Mm-hmm. Lately, I have been hearing a great deal about a dragon cult, and I would like to familiarize myself with the subject while I'm in the area. Do you have anyone that knows a fair amount of their whereabouts in the region?
We too have heard rumblings of this cult of the dragon, but I know not much of them. I do believe there is a monk, or a Templar paladin. There is a man who I believe has been studying them, an elven man of some renown. To my that was not in character. He was like an elven man of some renown who has been studying them. I believe perhaps he can give you the answers you seek. What was his name? Leodar. Ligar. It started with an L and was an elven name. And
Leodin, perhaps?
Leosin, yes, Leosin. That is the man's name. Have you already met him then?
Once upon a time, not recently. Do you know where I could find him?
To my understanding, he has been bumming around with a member of his order, Olenthar Froom or something, a well-respected cleric or a paladin of some degree.
I kind of under my breath go, ugh, another paladin.
I feel no better about them than you do, my friend. Men of the cloth and men of our field tend not to get along well.
Yes, this is true. And while I'm about, I might as well trouble you for another pint.
Yeah.
I've been surviving on the stuff.
Yeah. He kind of motions the barman, who takes out another glass and fills it up. Just grinning. He's like, men of the mist drink free here. Never be afraid to ask for more.
Many thanks. I ask him about a grappling hook and a replacement for my hemp rope as well.
Well, there should be rope down below if you need any. It's not expensive. Help yourself to as much as you might like. As far as a grappling hook, you might have better luck with a weaponsmith for something such as that. I do not believe we have any on hand.
What about a crowbar? I could use a crowbar as well.
Oh, crowbars. We have plenty of crowbars. We use them to open the casks and barrels. You will likely find one downstairs.
Excellent. All right. Well, then out of character, I make a quick trip down there, grab those, because that's not fun to listen to. All right. I finish the pint again, and I make my way out of the three-legged pony.
All right. And so with that, you can return to the inn that your party had paid off to stay in before, whose name I now forget. It had a catchy name. Oh, well. Hopefully we'll remember it later. Maybe I wrote it down somewhere. You can return there and call it a night. Technically, it's about 5:30 in the morning, so it's not really night. But all right. So if that is it, thank you. I hope Twidget enjoyed his first foray into the seedy underbelly of the realms.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. And thanks, guys, for watching. There may be more of these, perhaps. We'll see. Let us know if you enjoy these kind of one-off short episodes. And keep in tune for the next full episode featuring the party. All right, guys. Have a good one.